Welcome back, everybody. Today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. We're going to actually be working on the Blue 73 today. It's been sitting for a while. I drive it every once in a while. It's sat pretty much all winter, and now's the time where it's getting nice out. It's almost summer, that it's time to take all the cars out and have some fun and drive them. So when I got the car running the other day, I realized the brake pedal went right to the floor, and if you're a C3 Corvette owner, you know that brake calipers commonly leak on these cars. I did replace the calipers on this car a long time ago. Usually from sitting, you're gonna get it leaking out of the piston area around in here, which happens, super common. So that's that for the most part. So I'm gonna replace that today. I'm gonna paint this new one, throw that on there. The brake pads and stuff like that are pretty new in there. The rotor's fine. Last time I drove the car, there was no real issues with that. It's just that it's leaking everywhere. It's wet with brake fluid all the way around the wheel. So it's common if you hop in your car and the pedal goes right to the floor, just look at your wheels. It'll drip down the tire, leave a nice little puddle on the garage floor. So I'm gonna jack up the rear, throw this caliper on, bleed the brakes, and get this thing ready for summer. This week's video is brought to you by SeatShafts.com, manufacturer of solid stainless steel seat motor drive shafts. Save money on costly seat repairs by replacing the weaker factory shaft with an upgraded, stronger one. Custom sizes available for all makes and models: BMW, Chevy, Dodge, GMC, Mazda, Mercedes, and many more. Visit the link in the description or go to SeatShafts.com. All right, so the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tape off all 4 of these pistons in here, and then I'll hit this with a red scuff pad, brake clean it, and then just shoot it with some red paint. So when it comes to the brake caliper paint, anyone will do. They're high heat. They are specifically called Caliper Paint. This one's by Rust-Oleum, which I just ordered. There's one by VHT. So many companies have a caliper specific paint, but it has to be like a high heat paint, obviously, because it get super hot because of the friction. So I ordered this off of Amazon. It was like $9.99. So this will do the trick. I painted hundreds of calipers in the past, and I've used all brands, and they all pretty much turn out the same. All right, so I'm ready to take this rear caliper off, and you can see, I'll show you real quick how wet and soaked everything is from this thing just leaking through time. But the tools you're gonna need is 3/8 line wrench. This is just an open end here, but a line wrench will be the best thing to do, especially if you have an old brake line on here that's a little rusty or whatever. To get a line wrench on there to break it free, just because an open end wrench is just gonna maybe strip out the end. So 3/8 line wrench, and then you're gonna need 5/8 socket. I have a little breaker bar here, which is to break them loose. The bolts that hold the caliper on are probably pretty tight. And then just a regular 3/8 ratchet just to back those bolts off. Once you have everything unbolted too, you can also pull this pin out too, just to show you how this works. And then the brake pads will pull right out from the top. Okay, so I got the caliper painted, I got the brake pads back in it, along with this bar here and clipped in. So a little trick is to just push these pads all the way in, like this, and then slowly sit it down on the rotor before you hook up your brake line to it, just because it's a little bit quicker. They do sell clips to hold each of these pistons back if you're changing your brake pads, but since there's no fluid in here, you can just put everything together like this, and then just slip it down on the rotor, hook up your brake line. I got the new caliper bolted on there. Then I came up front here and I filled the master cylinder, and then you push this rubber boot all the way in because it's going to be sticking out because one of these is low. This is for the front, this is for the rear. All right, since the rear is the only one that's leaking, I'm going to just bleed passenger rear, driver side rear, since the master cylinders are separate from front and rear, so I'll get away with just doing that for right now. So I'm gonna have somebody sitting there, pump the brake pedal 3 to 4 times, then hold it, and then crack the top bleeder screw to work the air out. And you're gonna keep repeating this over and over again till the brake fluid comes out in a perfect stream with no air bubbles in it at all, if you never did it before. But remember, if you're halfway through, just keep checking your master cylinder and make sure the fluid level's high in there so you don't empty that and then you're back to square one having to do it over again. All right, so that's probably the quickest way to do a caliper replacement on one of these C3 Corvettes. So got it back on the road, ready for another season. So if you enjoyed the video, hit that like button. Thanks for watching.